Hey everyone, welcome back to another One Piece reading discussion situation with me, Benny, known as the manga historian, also known as the comic historian. I read a lot of comic books, I read a lot of manga, and I'm catching up on One Piece, currently reading chapters 700 to 730. We are at the beginning of the Dressrosa arc, which right off the bat, I'm gonna say I loved. I loved a lot of the stuff in this, but here's how this works. I read through all of those chapters, I write down interesting things to me, making notes about everything that is going on. I then sit here and talk about it. I'm not watching the anime, although I am watching that with my wife now, but we are all the way back on episode 400. So I'm not watching the anime, meaning that mispronunciations, because I'm just reading it through the manga. But on top of that, I'm only writing notes to what I find interesting, which might not be what you found interesting. That's our usual disclaimer. I'm sure someone went into the comments down below and posted a timestamp to skip ahead of that. So before we get into today, I actually want to talk a little bit about mispronunciation. I actually loved the Dressrosa arc, and I got a lot to say about that, but I want to talk about that because I had an interesting discussion. Now, if you were watching prior episodes of this, I made a joke about Jujutsu Kaisen and basically how I was saying it. My intentions were to watch the series. It's a big series, fan favorite, all that kinds of stuff. But I couldn't say it right because my brain was going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's not Jujutsu Kaisen, and I might still be saying it wrong, but I finally watched the anime. Now, I put a tweet out, and I said, I'm starting this series right now. Maybe I'll learn how to pronounce it. That, I thought, would be a funny little in-joke for those of you who know me. The reason I mispronounce things, like I said, is because I'm reading the manga or I'm reading the comic. And unless somebody tells me I'm saying it wrong, I'm just going to think of how to say it in my own head. Therefore, I'm going to have that pronunciation. Once I'm told I'm saying it incorrectly, then a lot of times I'll go out of my way to correct the way I'm saying it. But since I'm not watching it on TV, I'm not watching it in an anime or anything like that, I just come up with my own way to pronounce things. Or as I do within One Piece, I give them funny names so that I can recognize them because Oda likes to introduce 20 characters at a time in an arena fight, and I'm pretty sure only 2 of them are going to survive. So until they're the survivors, I don't need to worry about how to pronounce their names. This is Blind Guy. This is Admiral Guy. This is Ice Guy. You know, it's easier for me to move forward with that. Now, I actually wanted to say this because I wanted to get the opinion of you guys on pronouncing things within manga and not having an anime out there for you. You see, I did that joke tweet out there, and a person who's been responding to me a lot on Twitter recently and has led to a lot of interesting conversations is this Twitter user known as, well, I guess X user, known as Uncanny Girl. And I'm pretty sure she's watching this right here, or if anything, she doesn't watch my manga story and stuff because, as she said, the moment somebody mispronounces something, she clicks off of the videos. And then told me that my analytics should tell me that that's the moment that I'm losing most people. What I've discovered is that that is not the case in any way, shape, or form. A lot of your favorite YouTubers are going to mispronounce things or say things incorrectly because it drives engagement. I learned that early on my days on Comic Storian. We had a character named Leonard within a storyline that was supposed to be about a character named Leonard. And I don't know why, I pronounced it Leonard. This led to a series of arguments with my editor at the time because he wanted me to redo the line to be Leonard. And I said, no one's going to know, or are they going to care? The audience didn't. You guys all thought it was Leonard. But when I mispronounced obvious things, people would love to leave comments on it. Now, comments within a video will then drive engagement on the video, which will then send it to more people. So obviously that works well on the YouTube landscape. That's why a lot of your favorite YouTubers mispronounce or get things wrong. That's also one of the main reasons why I figure out how to say it in my head in the manga, and we just move forward with that. I have Dan and Kevin tell me if it's wildly off, but I'm not normally off. It's my dialect. My dialect a lot of times is just how I say things. Another great example is early on, I would say mutant. Now, that doesn't sound like I'm saying the T. I'm saying it better now because I've kind of trained myself to say it, but I would basically say mutant so quickly that some people thought I was dropping the middle T. So they would think I'm saying like mutant, and then they were just like, oh, you're saying it wrong. It's mutant. You got to say the T strongly. That's dialect. That's how you've learned how to say the word. I got into a discussion with this person, Uncanny Girl, about that, and their response was that they don't watch videos if somebody doesn't bother to learn the pronunciation of a topic, and brought up Manga Storian, which I assume at one point she watched, and based upon what that tweet said, isn't watching at this point. Now, I did not take offense to this at all. Not at all. because I do know some people get really, really uptight about grammar, pronunciation, and things like that. I've never found it to be a big problem for me and my friends. My philosophy has always been, if you know who I'm talking about, even if I get the name off or my dialect is weird or I said this funky, if you know who I'm talking about, we know what's going on. That's why I name people, Admiral with ice powers. You know who I'm talking about, even if you would prefer me to say Okiji. You would prefer that, but it's funnier because I doubt I said that even correctly. And even if I did, it doesn't matter because I said the guy with ice powers. Dan is laughing. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. In my defense, Okiji has not shown up in any of the anime episodes I watched with Natalie yet. Now, what I do is if there is an anime for a series, I do go watch the name pronunciations of the popular characters, the most popular characters, when it comes to this manga historian channel. Because simply put, I need to get the main characters correctly. If I did the first episode of One Piece and instead of saying Luffy, said Luffy, I never would have heard the end of that. Even Netflix made a video where they're correcting people. It's not Luffy, it's Luffy. So I do get the main characters down, just like my entire research on Zolo versus Zoro and why that's a case. But the point I'm making with all of this is I wanted to get your guys' opinion. Does a mispronunciation drive you away from a video? Do you mind if someone like me names it the Ice-Powered Admiral because I don't know how to say the name because I haven't seen the anime? Their argument was that I should spend the time learning how to say things in Japanese, to which my counterpoint was, I think that would be a waste of my time because I'd rather learn other things with my time. And instead, I think I would prefer to just watch the anime if it's an important character and understand how to say their name. Now, the end of that discussion turned into me saying that, when people want to talk to me about pronunciations, it leads to a lot of engagement, as proven by the fact that Uncanny Girl tweeted back and forth with me for like 10 tweets about that, giving me engagement on Twitter. And I did enjoy the conversation, and they brought up a lot of valid points, which is why I was enjoying the conversation. But I wanted to talk about it here because one thing that I've been doing with One Piece is I'm not going out of my way to learn the pronunciation for anybody that's not a main character. A main character. When I learn they're a main character, I learn their name. Crap, I can't remember it. Like when I finally learned not Kunia's name, and now Tashigi. Tashigi, I got it. Because Tashigi kept showing up, so I had to learn how to say her name. But I was just curious what you guys feel about this. Your more casual anime manga readers and pronunciations that they come up with. Now, I know there's an entire weeb army because I have a friend of mine. His name is Leo. I'm going to straight up call him out. Who tries to say it in a Japanese accent in a weird, which then leads to non-super weebs being like, man, that's the crazy weebs. Which is why I wanted to talk about this, because the pronunciations, and when it comes to translating manga and anime, I have found to be weird. Because you have the people that want to say it in with a fake accent, like I'm an American, but I'm going to say it like I'm from a samurai, or something weird like that. Like that was probably offensive. But you get the point I'm going for. They're trying to say it in like they're Japanese, like the Japanese say it. And they argue that saying it with an American dialect is incorrect. But then the American dialect people have their own way to pronounce things, and then you pronounce, and you say pronounce instead of mispronounce. It makes the whole point even funnier. But you know what I'm saying here. The argument, what I'm asking you is, how do you treat pronunciations when it comes to anime and manga and your influencers in the manga anime specter? I don't consider myself an influencer for manga because I'm reading something that you all read literally 10 years ago. But, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about Dressrosa. So Dressrosa was a chapter that I wrote a whole bunch of notes down here. Dressrosa enters with all of them arriving. The whole entire goal is that they have to drop off Caesar from not Impel Down. We're watching Impel Down on the anime. Drop off Caesar from Punk Hazard, where they've picked him up, and they've got an alliance going on with Trafalgar Law at this point. Which is another thing. Trafalgar Law had to learn how to say Trafalgar. You got it. You get the point. Law. By the way, whenever I call him Law, is anyone else just thinking of the Tekken character? Because I grew up playing Tekken, and that was Law. So now when I think of Law and this, and the fact that he looks badass the way he does, it's like Law with... Anyway, Tekken's cool. You should go play it. Anyway, they've made an alliance with Law, and they're moving over to drop off Caesar. They've broken the group up in a different direction. You got Zoro, Luffy, and Frankie all trying to do one thing. Honestly, I didn't write what they were trying to do at the beginning, but they weren't a part of the main group. I think they were all going for the factory. But basically, the group is broken up into a group going to destroy the Smile Factory, a group dropping off Caesar, and a group protecting the ship. And then a ton of stuff happens. A ton of stuff. First off, Sanji gets separated, and he gets obsessed with a woman who wants to give him attention, and he falls in love with her. Turns out that she's an assassin working for, I don't know how to say his name, actually. Doflamingo? I haven't seen him in the anime. Dan, inform me how to say his name. But Doflamingo has given up his right as a warlord of the sea. You know, like, he has publicly done what Law said, so Law is going off to pass off the prisoner. And then the assassin with Sanji is working for him to get rid of them, and she has the ability to see anything happening on the island. So that's like a whole thing going on in itself. During this, Frankie and Luffy discover that there's a tournament going on. And the prize for the tournament is the Flame fruit, Ace's fruit, which we discover later was placed there by Doflamingo to make Luffy want to go and get it. We discover that when the user of a fruit passes on, basically, that fruit then eventually comes back into the world, which was a cool giant world discovery that this actually can happen. So the Flame fruit is in the tournament, and the winner is going to get the Flame fruit. So Luffy signs up in that, but Frankie tells him not to give up that he's Luffy, so he puts on a suit of armor and a fake beard and goes by the name Lucy, because Luffy's really original with his naming. So basically, he gets into a giant battle, which at first, this is where the pronunciation thing came in, is just littered with so many characters. It reminded me of the other part, which I think there was another part in this series where I was just like, there was too many characters to try and track at one time. Oh, Sabaody. When they went to Sabaody and like Law showed up and all these characters, Eustace Kid and all them, and I was trying to track all of the new pirates at the same time. That's what the arena reminded me of. There's so many characters that were just not important. I assumed were not going to be important, like, because there's just too many. They're not going to be important. You can't use 20 characters at once. So that was why the pronunciation discussion came at the beginning of this, because I named them all weird things again. While that's going on, while Lucy has signed up to go and join the tournament, we got Nami, Brooke, and Chopper guarding the boat. Doflamingo sends somebody with the art fruit, I think it's called. Basically, she can turn everyone into art. So they have their own like mini battle against this art person over there. I found that to be the least interesting, except, let's start, because I'm all over the place right now, because that's how the story is. It's literally everyone going to every different thing. So let's just knock out one piece at a time. I said the thing and the thing. Let's do one piece at a time. Okay, so Luffy in the tournament. That in general was a lot of fun. We got to see the return of Bellamy. We got to see a lot of different characters that praise Luffy and the what they call them, like the problem pirates or something like that. Whatever, the problem generation. This guy praises them. And we also got to see a little bit of fun backstory, like this character Chinjoy. I think it's Chinjoy, but obviously my pronunciation is not going to be accurate. I haven't seen this in the show. Chinjoy shows up. He's a character that's head is smashed in. Turns out that Garp smashed his head back in the day, and his ability is to use his spiked head to split things, and his treasure is locked behind something that requires his spiked head. So he has deemed Garp and his descendants will be punished for hiding his treasure. Anyway, he gets into a fight with Luffy, which I thought was awesome, and his whole family and his whole thing. And then Luffy hits him so hard that he knocks the spike back into his head, making him happy and crying. That was a lot of fun. Bellamy was a fun reveal, but what I really liked about it was the character Rebecca. First off, Rebecca's outfit is just literally a chainmail bikini. It's just a chain. Actually, it's a funny thing, because I was reading the chapters, and in the back, where they do the answers and questions, a fan asked, does she wear underwear under the chainmail bikini? And once I read that question, I needed to know the answer. And Otis said that he knows the answer, and he won't be telling. So now I'm sad. I want to know if Rebecca's either just, feeling a breeze, or she got underwear. The audience needs to know these things, and I will allow you guys to spoil this for me. If it's ever revealed, let me know. Rebecca ends up helping Luffy, gives him food, and then tries to trick him. What it all boils down to is Rebecca is the descendant of the original line of people on this island, the original king. And Rebecca is now shunned because of what the king did, which leaves you with the question, What did the king do? So then we go over to Doflamingo. I'll move over. You know what? We'll just knock out Nami and Brooke and Chopper in one real quick fell swoop here. Their part was the least interesting. They fought a person with the art fruit, and the only cool part about it was Brooke showed how badass he can be to defeat the user of the art fruit and then free all of them. That was pretty much it. It was so minuscule that I forgot it was happening until we went back to the ship to see what was going on, because it didn't pop up that often. But then we go over to the little section that Law, Robin, and Usopp have headed off to, and we discover that on top. Well, I'll go to Zoro and the theft of the sword in a minute. Don't worry about that. So they go over there. Actually, I kind of need to cover that to talk about this. Okay, so Zoro is lost in the city. Because when Zoro enters the city with Frankie and Luffy, his sword is missing. It's been stolen by the fairies. I think they call them the fairies. It doesn't matter because that's not really what they are, but I think they call them the fairies. The sword is stolen, and Zoro goes chasing down the sword, and Zoro is lost in the city. So Zoro's out of everything, which I loved when he finally found out that Luffy was in a tournament, because he goes to Luffy. And his only question is, if you knew that there was a tournament here, why didn't you tell me? That's Zoro's whole arc for these 30 chapters. He gets lost again, he chases down his sword, discovers who stole it, and then he's mad at Luffy because he didn't get an invite to the tournament. Such a Zoro move. All right, so now we go to the little island. Because we discovered the little island that this was all a ploy, and this is where a lot of the big reveals happen, and I was really shocked by a lot of these things. First off, Doflamingo did not give up his status. That was all a fake out to get them over there. Secondly, Doflamingo is a celestial dragon. What? I thought they all had to wear weird spacesuits. But no, apparently not. And that his family is like the inherent line of everything, and that he has been orchestrating all of this. We also discovered that there's something going on between Law and Doflamingo 15 years ago, which caused their rivalry. We also discovered that Law, his ultimate goal is just to destroy the Smile Factory. He doesn't care about anything else. It was all, he got them to come and help defeat Kaido, but the whole thing was to go fight this one Smile Factory. Don't know if that's true or not, but he does reveal that he doesn't care about Kaido. He just wanted to destroy the Smile Factory. We also discover that the fairies are just little elf people that are clueless beyond belief, and they believe all of Usopp's lies. That was incredible. Usopp's riding this to the moon. I also found it funny that they tied down Robin, and Robin just easily convinces them. These little tiny people are so convinced so easily. It's cute. It's awesome. I love this little spin on it. But on top of all of this going on, Law's getting his butt kicked by Doflamingo. Nico, Robin, and Usopp, they've got to go do their own thing. They got to team up with the short people, which then teams up with Frankie. And then it all comes down to Luffy also getting involved, that they discover that they have to defeat the Smile Factory. All of this is awesome and incredible, and it's got so much building and so much character. But then there's the whole little side thing going on with the toys, and the toys became super important as well, which I think fits very well because I'm filming this in December, so it's like a toy-based thing. It even gave me a great idea for a D&D game, so I'm loving that. But that the toy soldier turns out to be Rebecca's father, and that the other guy that was fighting in the tournament was King Riku, who had been dethroned for the last 10 years. So we find out that King Riku, first off, made a deal with Doflamingo that they would pay him to go away, but that was all a trick because Doflamingo's ability is to use strings to control people or whip himself through clouds. So he basically forced Riku to kill his own men and kill the people of the city after stealing all the money from them, which is why he has a bad name. Rebecca went into hiding, and then somebody, I'm assuming it's somebody with a devil fruit based on the couple of panels that this person showed up, but somebody has the ability to take somebody and turn them into a toy, which was horrifying the way it was written in the manga, with all of the prisoners, the losers in the arena, getting turned into toys and talking about how they can't move right and they're forced to listen and they have to be obedient and things like that. And then Rebecca's father was a toy that was watching her from a young age and training her how to fight, but he also had to abide by the rules. So all of this comes out literally in chapters 725 to 730, which eventually leads to Law is beat down, but Frankie has agreed that no matter what Luffy says, he needs to help the toys and he needs to help the little people defeat the Smile Factory. Now, Dressrosa goes another 70 chapters. So what is going to happen now? Because it feels like we're coming to the end of Dressrosa already, with Doflamingo being powerful and kind of taking over. But all of these reveals are incredible. And just like Punk Hazard, this again feels like classic One Piece. Like, I keep kind of saying it, but like the Fishman arc just kind of felt like a way to show off powers. It didn't really feel like true One Piece, but this one had the same exact thing as Punk Hazard. The group all separated. They've all got different goals. Now we got to come together to beat down this common goal. I loved it. It was incredible. I can't wait to get all the way through Dressrosa. Now, that's where I'm at right now, so I don't want to say anything else because I haven't read any further, but I do want to bring up that part of our plan is to start streaming here on Mangastorian one day on the weekends, and once I pass Dressrosa, we will be playing One Piece Odyssey right here or at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/comicstoriangaming. But overall, guys, I love Dressrosa so far. It's incredible. And now I see why whatever's going to happen in the next 70 chapters has got to be huge to get to one-up what just happened. But now I see why the card game, the video game, a lot of the movies, Dressrosa's the point where they're like, anything up to Dressrosa is going to be spoiled. Because so much important stuff is happening and being revealed. But yeah, that's it. That's my opinion. So let me know what your opinions are on mispronunciations down below. Uncanny Girl, if you are watching this and you got through the video, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't butcher things too badly for you. And and I'll see you guys next time right here at the Mangastorian channel. I'll be doing a video about my experience with Jujutsu Kaisen. Did I get it right? Jujutsu Kaisen? I've only watched one episode and they said it like twice. I accidentally watched half of the movie too, because that's what the Crunchyroll started with the movie, and I was very confused by a young boy with this character named Rika that's a ghost of her childhood friend that got run over by a truck or something, and because she got run over and agreed that they would get married at like age 5, this kid got cursed by this ghost on him, and I'm watching this, and the episode went like an hour long, and I'm like, what the hell is the beginning to this show? And then I realized I was watching a movie, and I Googled it, and it said I shouldn't watch that until I finished season 1, so I stopped the movie, and I went to season 1. I'll see you guys next time.